So, I would be doing a Splatoon 1 in 2025, however, don't have Pretendo set up yet. I'll get to it eventually. Instead, though, a few years ago, I talked about what would happen if Splatoon 2 weapons were put into Splatoon 1, and I haven't done that for Splatoon 3's new weapons. So, would they do well in the harshest meta we've ever had? Let's find out. Quick ground rule before we get started. These weapons are going to get lucky when it comes to the kit department. Not gonna go into specifics, but pretend they get whatever bomb they want most, and whatever invincibility special is best for them. Quick refresher for anyone who's missed out on the Splatoon 1 meta, quick respawn works every time you die, stealth jump has a completely hidden marker, and invincibility specials activate frame 1. Very aggressive, very centered around fast kill times. You definitely want gear freedom for quick respawn, but sometimes a little bit of damage up can help some weapons. Let's get started. First off is Nova, going squarely in the no chance tier. A little bit of damage up could make it a potential 4-shot, which could be a little bit better. However, that's really the only thing it has going for it. Very easy to outkill it. The support power it has isn't really as useful, and special spamming isn't going to be any better than something like arrow spamming Kraken with the burst bomb, and even that weapon is far from being good. Definitely don't see this weapon at all. Big Swig Roller. This is also going into no chance. Now, you might be saying, but stuff like Bucket and Range are good, and this weapon could do a consistent 40 damage. Wouldn't that be helpful? In Splatoon 3? Of course. In Splatoon 1? Not really. Bucket has a burst bomb, Range has spot bomb and better damage on its indirect. Yeah, the best weapons in this game don't really need any kind of outside help, which means support paint-oriented weapons are kind of just there. Anyway, next up is Pencil, the absolute staple of Splatoon 3 meta. In this game, I could see it sometimes. I mean, it's a very strong main weapon still, so obviously it'll be pretty decent, and damage up is gonna mean that it's doing pretty close to a one-shot sometimes, which could also be very annoying to deal with. However, invincibilities will get out of a 2-shot very easily. I don't think invincibilities are gonna be super easy to chain to your teammates with Pencil's positions, and even though it's a solid main weapon, chargers have damage up and backless comps are just really fast. So I think it's good enough to see some niche use cases, but that's about it. S-Blast, going in the doubted tier for sure. The faster shot velocity and no jump RNG for more consistent directs would actually be pretty useful, and damage up would likely make its burst bomb combos pretty good. However, Grim also has burst bomb combos with better indirect damage, and range is very good, so I doubt there would be much of a reason to use it even if we did give it some kind of burst bomb Kraken hybrid. It's good enough a main weapon that maybe there would be some maps you would see it on, but realistically, I just doubt it. Okay, so Paintbrush is a bit of a tricky one to rank, because brushes in Splatoon 1 have damage overlap. So I think a big part of this assumption is, does Paintbrush get damage overlap? If it doesn't, it's down here. Even with the perfect kit, this is way slower than something like Octobrush, which can literally also 2-shot and has a great kit. But if it can damage overlap, then it could have potential to literally one-tap people. Even with that though, and a really good kit, I would just put it in the doubted tier, because that windup still means the kill time isn't that crazy, and it's still a pretty slow weapon. Dreadringer is up next and also goes into the doubted tier. Like with S-Blast, the solid enough main weapon is what puts it here for me. Its paint is pretty good, even if it's less notable or strength, and damage up would mean it can do 99 on its one slosh, so there's some potential there, but I just think Bucket's burst bomb combo is a lot more ridiculous. Maybe with Comstack and paint, plus the chance to roll an invincibility special, it could have some use cases, but realistically, I think its weaker solo killing power, even with something like a burst bomb, wouldn't stand up to just how broken Splatoon 1's top tiers are. Edit Splatling to me would be a solid, could see it sometimes. The charge up time is just a bit too long, and the gear dependency is too much of a big deal. Damage up could be amazing for this weapon, drastically boosting it and making a potential 3-shot possible. But between that and the run speed, I just think it's gonna end up needing way too much gear, and the charge time, like I said before, is gonna be too much of a weakness for this weapon. Dowser Doolies go in no chance easily. Really weak kill time, limited mobility, the supportive nature of it isn't that helpful at all, and needs way too much damage up in order to benefit. Doolies mostly benefit in Splatoon 1's meta, but not this one. Tri-Stringer. Now this is a little bit tricky to rank because damage up could help a little bit. The explosions deal 90, so dealing 99.9 could be pretty nice for killing. However, I'm gonna be real here. I'm putting it in no chance. I think despite that, whatever kit you can get it just isn't gonna be good enough compared to chargers being able to partial you. And again, the utility of chip damage just isn't that useful when stuff like your bucket and blaster just work fine with themselves anyway. Reflux is going into Doubt It. Again, there's a chance here for damage up to make it a little bit better because like with Dreadringer, this weapon can deal 90 damage, and if that does consistently one tap, then maybe there's a little bit more of a chance the weapon can get a decent amount of special output and is a bit more ink efficient to work with a burst bomb. However, I think it'll just end up being a little bit too inconsistent and not end up working out compared to the better weapons in the game. Though I will say this one at least has a bit of a chance. And Wellstring's also going in to Doubt It. Realistically, I really just don't think the bows work that well in Splatoon 1. They're built for a bit of chip damage stuff and a bit of long-range sniping, and chip damage isn't as necessary because of how good the weapons are at killing themselves, and the long-distance sniping is just outdone by chargers that are way better in this game. Wellstring maybe gets a little bit more out of damage up, but having a really situational one-shot just isn't really helping here, and I think its horrible solo killing power would be a bit of a problem here. The main weapon's too stacked for me to put it in no chance, but I doubt we'd see it. Oh yeah, I forgot Recyclebrella. Yeah, guess where that one's going? Like, no consideration at all. Doesn't one-shot, shield's gonna get melted, has to deal with stuff like Cherry tanking it or a range and bucket just hitting around it. There's absolutely no way. Now, so far this list has looked pretty bleak, but Splatanas are where things might get a chance to turn around. And by Splatanas, I mean the other two. This one's going into Doubt It, which might seem surprising. However, I think Viper's kill time is way too slow. I've talked about how this is a problem here, and even with something like a burst bomb, I think that it's just not going to be fast enough to deal with the other weapon's quicker kill options or invincibility specials against it. I will say that Viper's mobility might make it uniquely good at dodging stuff like Kraken. It could have survived the invincibility specials more easily, which could be useful, and this is another case where damage up might help making it a potential 3-shot, but I still think the problems are going to be a big deal. So, you might have guessed where Splatana Stamper is going to go before we even get started. Yeah, this is a relevant weapon for sure. Has burst bomb combos that, while not as good as Sloshers, are definitely good enough to keep up, an absolutely broken main weapon, and Kraken is a definite upgrade in the specials department since it is a panic button, and it's also able to one-shot up close. All the Splatanas are, but this one is especially useful considering people will have to try to fight it up close. The range it has is actually enough to outrange stuff like Slosher and Range Blaster, or even H3 if it's poking at it. So I think it does do well against some of the other relevant matchups. Is it better than those three? Probably not. I think the others are much more consistent, but I think this would definitely be a weapon you would see. Now, Decapitator, you might expect to have a chance of going up here, and truthfully, it does. It is still a very ridiculous weapon, and that dash one-shot is pretty good. But I'm only going to put it in could see it sometimes, simply because if you have these invincibility specials, you have enough time to react to a Mint dashing at you and just pop it. And because Mint is really slow, they're basically just doomed to get killed by whatever popped the invincibility special on them, especially any Kraken weapons. It's still a very solid main weapon. The dash slash is still useful when it's not dealing with invincibility specials, and the weapon does have a lot of threatening mid-range combos. But compared to Stamper, I just think it falls a little bit further behind in this game due to its slower speed. I will say though, it does have a 99 damage beam. That does sound pretty annoying. However, I doubt you'd stack into that much damage up anyway in this game. So that's my list. If you compare it to Splatoon 2, I'd say that Splatoon 2 ended up doing better. A lot of Splatoon 3's better weapons are a bit more hybrid-y between aggressive and support at times. Stuff like Sword's damage capabilities, Pencil and Edit's special with Tacticooler, or even if we go lower down, stuff like Dreadringer's ability to damage for teammates. That stuff just isn't as useful in Splatoon 1, where individual power is everything. So outside of Stamper, the best main weapon in the game, it doesn't really hold up as well, which is kind of interesting. But let me know what you think in the comments below. I'll see you all next time.